Telltale Games just don't miss, do they? I've genuinely never been so utterly immersed and invested in a story than when I was playing The Wolf Among Us. Telltale Games have crafted a near perfect blend of suspense, action, mystery, and emotion in such a powerfully created, twisted version of our childhood favourites. The Wolf Among Us combines the most iconic fairy tale characters into a damning reflection of the real world. Just like in other games made by Telltale, our choices matter, not only in how the story plays out, but in how relationships mould between the absolutely flawless characters. Never have I played a game in which every single character's personality was not only exciting, but also felt important. It seemed like every single conversation and every single sentence I said would play a part in developing our story. I had no idea what to expect coming into this game, but after playing The Walking Dead, the bar was set very high. So join me in diving headfirst, unlocking mysteries and showing you my story of the fantastic world of The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf Among Us makes its gritty neon setting and unique story obvious from the start. Set in 1980s New York City, a population of characters known otherwise as fables reside among the normal human citizens, under a spell known as glamour that hides their true fairy tale appearance in order to blend in. We are playing as the sheriff of Fabletown, named Bigby Wolf. Yeah, Big B Wolf. There's a lot of clever puns in this game. We get straight into the action, arriving at an apartment where we'd got a call from Mr. Toad about some disturbance and destruction upstairs. But before we get any further into the story, I have to mention now the absolutely flawless character designs. I truly don't think there are any games, with maybe a couple exceptions, that come close to the great personalities that we meet in this game. Mr. Toad here being one of my favourites.
Mr. Toad? Oh, shit. Bigby!
The game doesn't shy from silly voice acting or crude jokes, so it not only makes for a game where I'm going to remember every single character, but also for a game to truly reflect how people in real life act, despite, well, not being real people. Before we tend to the commotion upstairs, we talk to Toad about how he clearly doesn't look human, with him refusing to take glamour to hide his fabled appearance due to its high cost. We warn Toad of the consequences, reminding him that the fables have lived among the humans unnoticed for a couple hundred years now, so for those that don't conceal themselves, they're sent to live away at the farm. It's implied over the stretch of the game that the farm doesn't have the greatest living conditions, and any fable who is unfortunate enough to pass as human, or simply can't afford glamour, gets sent there to live. The ruckus upstairs seems like it's starting to get out of hand, so we make our way upstairs to find the drunken mess, laying his hands on the lady who happens to be with him. Bigby pins a man to the wall, who receives a spit to the face before shoving us away, and goddamn, a quick time and fight scene already? I have to say, the quick time events in this game were really fun. Fights never seem too difficult, rather relying on your personal choices than your ability to click a button quickly. The combat was pretty exciting, especially as we weren't just fighting people, rather incredible creature designs. I mean, some of the fights later in this video were just awesome. We throw the woodsman around the room, stopping him from using his axe to comfortably win the fight, even teaching him some basic manners in the process.
Look, I'm not leaving until I get what's mine.
You're not getting shit, bitch. Say that word one more time. What? Bitch? What did I say?
We double check with the lady to make sure she's okay, and despite the nasty bruise on her face and the fact that the woodsman here hasn't given her the money that she's owed, she seems to be doing alright. The woodsman just doesn't know when to shut his mouth though, continuing to talk like a Twitter incel, leaving us to resort to one last thing. Oh. Look, I told you these guys aren't human. We wake up after getting knocked out from falling from the building, crushing Toad's car in the process.
Hey, Toad. My car.
Our fight with the woodsman continues, with the kinkiest foreplay I have possibly ever seen, almost releasing our hidden fursona, only for the lady to drive an axe right into the woodsman's head. We step aside to talk to the lady, trying to get to know her better, especially since she just saved our life and kept our fabled side hidden, but she chooses to keep some anonymity.
Who do you work for, really?
These lips are sealed. Sorry.
Even after all he went through, the woodsman somehow gets away from the scene. So before the lady leaves, we make sure to hand her some money. Not as much as she was owed, but enough to not leave her empty-handed when she returns to her pimp. The story of The Wolf Among Us dives so much deeper than I'd initially thought, and it's so uniquely intriguing to see how the childhood fairy tale characters can be twisted into something that reflects the darkness of real-life situations. Everything that we've already seen, and are going to see soon, is not so outlandish, making what sounds like a silly premise into something truly spectacular. The lady walks away after promising to head to Bigby's apartment later on to give a police statement, lighting the fire to what is bound to be a thrilling story. We arrive at the Woodland Luxury Apartments, noticing a rustle in the bushes and someone hiding behind the trees. Hiding from us is Beauty, who is acting incredibly suspicious, rushing off before making us promise to not tell Beast.
Promise me you won't tell Beast you saw me.
Beast.
worries.
Look, whatever it is, it's between you and Beast. I'm staying out of it.
Mr. Beast. No, BD, like Beauty and the Beast. You know, the Disney movie? Jimmy Beast. Never mind. We head into the apartment, taking a look around the reception, and Mr. Beast! Would you shut up, BD? Just play the game already. We head into the elevator, only to be stopped by Beast himself, as he asks us if we happen to have seen Beauty around, lying to him to stay out of their situation.
Have you seen my wife? Have you seen Beauty?
Oh, I see. It's not Jimmy Beast. It's fair to say that Bigby's apartment doesn't look the most luxurious, and our roommate isn't exactly making it look any better. Colin happens to be one of the three little pigs who had recently escaped from the farm, with Bigby allowing him to crash at his place, because, yeah, he kinda has to make up for something. The two recollect about their past, Colin telling us about how everyone seems to fear Bigby, not only from our history of eating pigs and people, but mainly because of our tendency to bring violence and intimidation into the tactics of our job. A premise that we'll see come of importance many times in our playthrough. Ethics are a massively important topic in The Wolf Among Us, with the way that we treat people reflecting on not only how people view us, but how they treat us in return. So as to stay on Colin's good side, we treat him to a drink of whiskey.
Thanks, Bigby.
How does he drink it? Oh, gross. A worried knock on our door jolts us from our sleep, with Snow White, the assistant to the deputy mayor of Fabletown, appearing at our door, showing some concern, desperately taking us outside to talk. We spot a security jacket lying on the floor outside the apartments, only for us to lift it up and reveal something truly horrifying. What? It's nice to know that Telltale aren't shying away from any killings in this game, throwing us right into the deep end. Snow asks us if we know the girl, telling her that we only got to speak to her shortly the night before. The woodsman is a primary suspect immediately, but without a murder in Fabletown for quite some time, the death of what seemed like a character with great potential is even more concerning. Inside the mouth of the lady is her ribbon, the one that she wore around her neck, and a ring with a unique symbol tied to it. We search around to see if anything can explain this clearly deliberate attention grab of a murder, coming across a piece of fabric and blood coating the nearby fence post. We conclude with Snow that someone brought her in from the outside, climbing the fence and leaving the girl's head at the door, leaving Snow White to go to the deputy mayor himself to tell him of the news, despite us telling her that we don't have enough evidence. She insists though, telling us to meet her at the business office with the deputy mayor himself. On the way there, the distaste for our work as sheriff is made obvious, with an angry man fuming at our lackluster job.
Well, you don't see there's a line? I've been standing here a half hour already. You get to just walk in? Must be nice being the sheriff. Do whatever the fuck you like. I work here. And what great work you do, Sheriff.
We head into the business office, finding Ichabod Crane, the deputy mayor, losing his mind at Snow.
Don't change the subject. You are to blame for this unpleasantness, Miss Snow.
We tell Crane to back off, telling him that rather than blaming each other, we should focus on solving this case early. But I can tell already that nothing is getting through this absolute dweeb, and he continues to shift blame onto us, suggesting that we've already failed at keeping the community safe. We do our best to ignore the childish man, with the whack-ass sideburns. Seriously, this man's built like a kite. One bit of wind and he is flying away. We tell him that the woodsman is the #1 suspect, and with such, he leaves for us to get to work, and we get introduced to possibly the weirdest character in the entire game. And honestly, I still don't know whether I find this little guy absolutely amazing or completely disturbing. Buffkin, although I'll never say his name correctly while playing the game, I can promise you that, is the flying librarian monkey, of course, able to aid us in all of our research into the citizens of Fabletown. He is also kind of a massive liability, and no, I have no idea what fairy tale he's from. If someone could let me know, that would be amazing. We send Buffkin off to find the Book of Fables, in hope that we can find the name of the dead lady, while in the meantime we poke around Crane's office, coming across the magic mirror, which in return for some rhymes allows us to see certain things, such as other fables at the current time, exposing their whereabouts and doings. Buffkin returns with a pile of books for us to look through.
Yeah, dwarves. Less said about that, the better.
Rise up, Short Kings. One of the characters wore a ring, the same of which that was tied to the ribbon in the dead girl's mouth, which after researching, Buffkin manages to find her name.
Donkey Skin Girl, also known as Donkey Skin, also known as Ass Skin, prefers to go by the name Faith.
The book tells us that Faith does in fact have a husband, providing us with a lead to chase, so we head for the magic mirror in hopes of finding more about her. When asking to see Faith, the mirror repeats the same phrase that she had said to us.
Through powerful magic, her whereabouts concealed. Unfortunately for you, these lips are sealed.
What? And after asking about her husband, we don't get the most promising of images. And her father? Yeah, definitely not around to participate in the murder. We leave to find Faith's husband, getting stopped by a phone call from Toad, begging for us to go to his apartment with someone upstairs causing a ruckus again. This time, searching through the woodsman's things. With Toad seemingly in danger, we head for his place first, spotting someone lurking around upstairs, only to find no one left as we get up there. We don't dwell on it for long, hearing crying coming from beneath us, inviting ourselves into Toad's apartment to find his son TJ in tears, and Toad acting weirdly suspicious.
Sorry, Bigby. It's embarrassing to have to admit, but I thought there was someone else in Woody's place. There wasn't, though. Not when I checked. Nothing but a leaky drain pipe.
Toad is all of a sudden desperate for us to leave, but we aren't going anywhere, so as Snow takes TJ away to keep him distracted, we take a look around the place, finding a smashed lamp.
Fucking hell. Damn thing must have fell off a table.
Some ketchup on the wall.
Oh, well, I cut me hand. Ran around like a tit trying to pick out a wrap.
And a fire poker that must have been used to spread the ketchup.
Oh, well, that's how it happened, didn't it? I was poking the coals and it slipped a bit.
Toad is full of blatant lies. I mean, it'd be easier to get Stevie Wonder to pass his driving test than to get the truth out of this guy. It takes a considerable amount of pushing, more clue finding, and a few slaps to the face to finally get to Toad, uncovering a slash on the back of his head. He tells us that one of the Tweedles had come over, accusing Toad of hiding an important item that the woodsman had been keeping, beating him up and fleeing before he could get to the scene. The Tweedle twins are clearly not to be messed with, threatening Toad that they would kill his son if we ever found out that they'd been over at his place. Without much more evidence to go off of though, we're left to make our way to the house of Faith's husband, in hope that just possibly we could get some more information on the case. But as expected from what we saw in the mirror, we aren't going to get any information out of the man, lying bleeding out on his living room floor, unable to tell us what happened to him and Faith. All there is to go off of is a bloody dagger left on the floor. Bigby notices an odd pattern in the pool of blood, as if something was in the way of the floor, which makes sense when pulling down a retractable bed, showing a note to us with Faith's husband profusely apologising for hurting her, without much elaboration. It's all getting a bit confusing in here. That is until we go to open the closet. Oh my god.
Stay here.
We are forced into a chase scene following the man down an alleyway and through an apartment complex, where we get a scene weirdly reminiscent to Home Alone, continuing to chase the freak through the buildings, somehow not catching up to this man. Look, I'm not saying anything, but surely we're faster than this guy. Finally, after leaping from the rooftops, we corner the man in a back alley, demanding he tells us why he'd ran away and what the hell he was doing in Faith's husband's apartment. He makes up a blatant lie, visiting to find out about the death of Faith himself, and covering up the murder of the husband.
Look, I was just asking him about the girl, that's all. When I mentioned her being dead, he freaked out. I figured someone had told him. How was I supposed to know?
We see right through his bullshit, telling him he's being arrested for questioning, but he insists he's on our side, telling us that he knows where the woodsman is, accusing him as the culprit behind the killing. But finally, he gives up the facade, but unfortunately, not to our benefit.
Come on.
Dumb.
Dumb? Yeah, it is. Look, it'd be much easier for you
No, I'm D. He's dumb.
We wake up from getting knocked out by Tweedledum with Snow standing over us, saying she saw the twins escaping in a getaway car, with our only lead now being the Trip Trap, a local bar where Tweedledee mentioned the woodsman to be. I already adore the characters in this game, especially these ridiculous looking blobfish twins. Not only did Telltale Games have to decide on certain fairy tale characters that best fit the role of the in-game characters, but the personalities they have to attach that match real life people were done perfectly. There are so many cool characters that we meet along the way, and I can genuinely say that they are all fantastic. On the way to the Trip Trap, we discuss with Snow about who could possibly be the killer, me being completely unsure as of yet, but with a number of troubling characters in this town, I'm sure we'll get an idea soon enough. Snow leaves us to head into the bar alone.
Bigby. Just be careful. Please.
The same goes for you.
I will.
And it's time for quite possibly my favourite scene of the game. The Trip Trap is your classic local bar, with Holly the barmaid immediately giving us attitude when we show up to investigate the woodsman. She avoids any questions about him, despite the obvious clues that the alcoholic basically lives there. Even Gren, the scrawny guy sat alone, is insistent on us leaving. It takes a lot of waiting, and I was really not up for having patience.
Yep. Think it's fucking hilarious.
We smash a glass over this guy's head. But finally, the man of the hour appears after taking what must have been the biggest dump in Fabletown. The woodsman insists he is sick of fighting and would rather us just talk, but his meat riding posse isn't going to make it that easy.
Last fella I put my hand on ended up in the ground.
The woodsman seems delirious, losing all composure when we tell him that Faith is dead, becoming incredibly fearful that he's going to be executed by everybody, with it not looking the greatest that only a few hours after he was beating her up, she ends up dead on our doorstep. He pleads for his innocence, telling us that he was at the bar the whole time, with Gren vouching for him. Gren continues to be on the offensive, calling us and Snow White out for being a liability to the town, despite the woodsman asking him to calm down as to not ruin it for him any further. But after he makes a rude comment about Snow, we aren't going to let this freak keep talking.
And that bitch Snow White looking right past me, then ushering me out the fucking door. That all you got?
Seemed to be enough.
Don't be so sure.
Straight on the floor, boy.
Oh, good.
What is that?
Should have walked out of here when you had the chance.
I had no idea going into this game that we would see this sort of thing. I kind of forgot about the whole glamour ordeal, not remembering that these people are literally monsters, and fucking awesome ones at that. Well, maybe not all of them. The designs were so simple, yet so clean, and I love what they went for with Gren, taking the term sleeper build to another level. I mean, I really didn't expect this. After getting tossed around the bar like Grandma's urn during a drunk game of hot potato, we have to pull something out of the bag. Oh my god, okay, we don't stand a chance. We need to go wolf mode. Wolf mode! Let's go. We launch ourselves at Gren, digging our claws into his shoulder, scratching at his eyes, driving a pool cue into his back, and breaking his leg. We get left with a quite frankly gruesome decision to make. I'm sorry, but that just had to be done. The guy was never going to respect us unless we pulled something batshit crazy. But trust me, it keeps getting even more insane. After slamming a whiskey in celebration and stopping the woodsman from sneaking away, we get an unexpected visitor through the door. And we're left with one more vital decision to make.
Alright, I got $100 for the first bloke that can tell me something about a girl named...
We take the woodsman away to the station for questioning, although now it comes to writing the script, I really think I should have gone for the Tweedle twat. I kind of believe that the woodsman wasn't involved. I mean, it would have been far too obvious if he was. Since we knew the Tweedles had visited Toad and Faith's husband, they definitely would have been more useful to us for evidence. But oh well, that's the nature of these decision-based games. You make mistakes sometimes. We finally get back to the business office, but flashing lights outside signify that this story is far from over, as we head past the police tape to find something has gone horribly wrong. Who is it? Oh my god! No way! Just like that, the investigation gets even more difficult, losing our crime-seeking partner in a matter of moments, not even getting the chance to truly explore Bigby's development with Snow. It was such a shame to lose a character who seemed so nice so damn quickly, but I guess it means this story is gonna go even deeper than I thought. The second episode begins in an interrogation room, with a human detective interrogating us on the death of Snow. We refuse to tell her about the situation in an attempt to avoid sharing information about all the fables living among the humans. The interrogation is cut short when the detective's nose starts bleeding and she starts going crazy.
I'm sorry. Just
What?
make it stop, please.
The fuck? Fortunately for us though, it was only Crane, who had bought a memory wipe spell to make the human police forget everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. So we make our escape, taking the photo of Snow's head with us. In the car drive to the business office, Crane talks to us about the woodsman, feeling pretty certain that he'll know something about the murders, whether he did them or not.
Well, thanks to you, there's been at least some hope in this whole dreadful affair. I'm confident he has some information about the slayings.
I don't know if he does. Crane keeps trying to talk to us about how much he misses Snow White already, saying he can't believe something so terrible could happen, although we shut him down immediately, telling him to drop the bullshit, seeing as he has only ever treated her as some sort of servant, leaving us to arrive at our apartments where the woodman finds himself being interrogated. But first, let's get a live report on who you think the killer is, beedee. Mr. Beast is the main suspect for sure. Yeah, this joke won't get overused in this playthrough, I promise. The woodsman is delusional again, singing a song while leant over in his chair, and Bluebeard here has already begun the interrogation, with plans to perhaps use some aggressive tactics.
I have too many methods to inspire him.
Bluebeard, I told you not to touch him until we returned.
Woody persists with the fact that he didn't kill anyone, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have answers to some of our questions. Regardless though, he ignores all of them, even after we forced a photo of Snow's head in his face. It takes a lot of effort, one slap, and to be Mr. Nice Guy for him to finally tell us that he was expecting to meet Lily, another lady who unfortunately happened to find herself to be forced to work under the same prostitution ring that Faith was. And Lily? She's Holly's sister, the barmaid at the Trip Trap. Bluebeard finds this information completely useless, finding Woody's sexual pastimes a mockery of the situation, proceeding to beat him senseless. We pull Bluebeard away, forcing us into the most pointless fight yet, until someone interrupts our rut. Who's this? What?
Snow.
That's right, Snow is alive. I played that off perfectly, she was never dead. She initially gets annoyed at us for bringing violence into an interrogation, despite Bluebeard being the one who started it all, before telling us that TJ happened to find the decapitated body. I've got to say, I only really have one true complaint about this game, and weirdly enough, it's because some of my choices matter too much. I found it to happen quite a lot while playing this game, that so many members of Fabletown would hold a grudge for the most stupid things for the entirety of the game. I understand that it can be realistic for people to hold petty grudges against someone that they want to dislike, but god, it was annoying for Snow to get on the offensive after I thought she'd just been killed. Snow can't help but feel responsible for the death of this person, saying that it should have been her that died, someone else being made up to look like her. TJ is waiting for us in the business office for us to ask him questions, but before that, I just wanted to bring something up. What's hanging over there? Is that a decoration? I had to do a bit of research on who the hanging person could be, and it turns out to be a nod to the comics, which, by the way, I adore the art style that this game runs with. Just like The Walking Dead, it really does feel like I'm playing a comic book. It's so uniquely awesome. The guy hanging from the tree is the Forsworn Knight, originally known as Lancelot from the story of King Arthur. It seems that in the comic series, Lancelot hung himself while still in his armor, and would often get drunk somehow, I don't know, I didn't read the story, and would spout random songs and prophecies. It's a super cool detail for the game to add, and it makes me wonder if there's any more like that hiding somewhere. Anyway, we head over to Toad and TJ, where the tearful little frog tries telling us his story of Snow's kinda death, which is when I realised that TJ is actually voiced by the same person who voiced Clementine. Let me know if you can hear it too.
Under the big blocks, and I heard noisy feet.
TJ mentions that he usually goes swimming in the lake, but as his dad tells him to, he hides underwater when he can hear someone nearby. As he went beneath the surface, that's when Snow White's body was plunged underwater without her head, cinder blocks tied to her feet for her to sink down. Scared, he came up to the surface and heard someone talking.
I don't know if anyone saw me, but someone said, "Stop laughing." And then I was scared, and I went under for as long as I could.
But unfortunately for us, he didn't see anybody. All we had was a single sentence to go off of. We let TJ know that he did a good job, although it really wasn't very useful. Along with Snow and Buffkin, we head to the Witching Well chamber, where the body is being kept for us to investigate further, and it certainly looks identical. It's pretty certain that whoever this is has used glamour to make herself look exactly like Snow, for the reason we can't be sure. But there's a few things wrong with the glamour, the details not being completely perfect, with injection marks on her legs, as well as having the wrong buttons on her shirt. From what we can gather, this isn't any normal glamour, instead coming from the black market, where the glamour's much cheaper than what is sold normally to Fables, with imperfections coming from the low cost. As Crane appears, we tell him what we know so far, with him not seeming too concerned about the idea of a black market glamour, and with further inspection, I don't want to look at her lingerie, why is that a thing? We come across Snow's perfume, as well as a weird wooden contraption that is thought to be used in magic.
I've seen things like this before. It's definitely magic. Though witches don't usually craft objects these days.
We should have it looked at, just to make sure it isn't dangerous. Don't you think?
Crane's blatant suspicion doesn't keep us from looking further, opening the wooden cylinder containing Snow's hair, as well as a photo of her, and not long after, the glamour wears off, showing us the true appearance of the lady, or well, troll, who just so happens to be Holly's sister, Lily. Just as the woodsman had mentioned before, we have nothing left to do here except go and find Holly, to break her the bad news. After our recent visit to the Trip Trap ended out on a limb, I was hoping to come armed with better manners, turning up to the bar with hope to speak quietly with Holly, in order to comfort her about the loss of her sister. It's never going to be that easy though, with Jack here confronting us about Snow's fake death, being a complete weirdo in general. After proceeding to ask about where Holly's sister Lily might be, we're forced into gently letting Holly down.
I don't know how to say this to you, Holly. The woman we found in the river.
Who was it?
You know who it was.
Holly is understandably upset, telling Gren and Jack to leave as she opens up to us about their relationship. The sisters had stopped talking as much as they used to, since Holly couldn't stand to see her sister's deterioration from her drug use, almost blaming herself for the lack of time that she spent with Lily over something she finds now to be so petty. Holly suggests that we head to the local strip club, known as the Pudding and Pie, where Lily had basically lived for as long as Holly could remember, leaving us to head there alone, while Snow heads back to the office with Holly. When we reach the club, we are immediately welcomed by a lady at the door, who takes us in to speak to Georgie, the part-time pimp and owner of the Pudding and Pie, seeing as just like some of the other ladies that we've met.
My lips are sealed.
Her freedom of speech isn't the only thing getting censored here though, because Georgie is a pervert. And I'm a broke university student. I kinda need the revenue from this video. I'm gonna have to censor so much of this. Georgie is basically a living, breathing Instagram Reels comment, just spouting the most disgusting things from his mouth.
Keep dancing, you. I didn't say stop.
We walk over to the scumbag, forcing him to turn off his boombox and begin talking. Georgie thinks he is far smarter than he actually is, trying to poke fun at us for coming to a strip club, bringing up how we'd rather be off beating someone up instead. Georgie shows absolutely no care in regards to the black market glamour that Lily had used to look like Snow White, unhappy at us for throwing around accusations, despite him going on to admit that one of her clients most likely requested her to glamour as Snow as some sort of gross fantasy. He proceeds to turn his boombox back on, but unfortunately, Big B isn't a big fan of his playlist. We lean over to turn it off, which is when Georgie tries squaring up to us, only to stumble back into his boombox, breaking it in the process. Nice one, dickhead. Hans is one of the workers at the club, suggesting to us that we should just look through the book of clients for a name that might be linked to the case, which visibly annoys Georgie, to the point of threatening him with a cricket bat. But this scrawny bastard is the biggest pushover. We threaten to destroy every last bit of his bar, but with him persisting that he knows nothing, it's time to start wrecking shit. Slamming the keg into a wall, revealing a hidden safe, and after destroying his DJ booth harder than a Minecraft YouTuber destroys their hard drive, we finally get handed the key.
Fucking trust my business over this bullshit. Protector of Fabletown, my ass.
The book inside contains a name, Mr. Smith, next to a number to most likely a hotel room. Getting a proper answer from Georgie is about as useful as getting an eye test from Stevie Wonder, so we head back into the room to speak with the lady that Georgie was forcing to dance. Thankfully for me, she's fully clothed now.
They used to call me the Little Mermaid.
What?
Once upon a time. Does that help?
This is Ariel?
My name is Nerissa.
Oh. We begin asking Nerissa about who Mr. Smith is, but just like the other girls,
His lips are sealed.
instead she offers us an appointment with her, with us assuming that someone must be listening in. So with a visit all paid for with Nerissa, she hands us a hotel key to keep our investigation going. This hotel is awful. The paint is cracking off the walls and the place looks like it stinks. So to get this done and out of the way, we head up to the reception desk, only to find Beauty on the other side. She's been working at the hotel in order to make ends meet, despite her and Mr. Beast's lavish lifestyle. This was the reason that she wanted us to keep quiet and pretend that we hadn't seen her in the first episode, as it's likely that Beast, you know what, I can't keep calling him that. It just negates all the tension that's been built every time I hear the name. I just get like a vision of that damn smile he does. It's actually petrifying. Anyway, it's likely that Beast would be furious that Beauty is working in a place so contradicting of her name, hence why we had to keep it on the lowdown. Beauty offers to take us up to the room in which Lily had taken Mr. Smith while glamoured as Snow, but weirdly enough, the room doesn't open, with the master key not even turning in the lock, which is when our investigation hits a bit of a roadblock.
Ah, shit.
Beast?
Big B? How could you do this to me?
No, sweetie, no. Wait a minute.
How could you do this?
Oh
We've
shit.
been together through everything.
He
I
thinks
took
we're
care of
cheating.
you. I love.
It's not what you think. Please.
Beast immediately starts accusing us of going behind his back to have an affair with Beauty, with his anger triggering him to start transforming into his fabled side, to lash out towards us. Now this could well be my favourite part of the fight scenes in The Wolf Among Us. I really didn't want to fight Beast here, seeing as he didn't do anything wrong at all. The conclusion he jumped to was pretty valid, but I had an opportunity, just like in some other fights, to not press the prompted button, which in this case stopped the fight early, saving our reputation, but most importantly, opening the room after Beast flung us through the door. Inside isn't the prettiest of sights, and you know how it goes. Never eat spaghetti in bed. You're guaranteed to get the pasta sauce everywhere. Tomato sauce covers the entire bed, with purple flowers scattered across the room, the same that Lily held in her hand when she died. Beauty ends up confessing to Beast about working at the hotel, but we don't have time for this domestic drama right now. We have to find clues. We don't find many useful ones in this room, except for a book full of notes and pictures, which shows that someone had set up the room to look exactly like Snow White's coffin from the story, with the smallest of details from the tale matched perfectly, from the apple that she eats to the dress that she wears, completing the most horrifying roleplay ever. Just before we leave the room, we spot an envelope hidden underneath the rug, containing photos of Snow, with some even including us, until we spot one more image.
What is it?
It's Crane.
What? What? We hardly have any time to linger around now. We need to get to Snow to stop any chance of Crane getting to her. Fortunately for us, Beast heard word that she would be under the Buckingham Bridge to pay respects to Lily at her funeral, and just as he said, we come across her giving a speech, waiting for her to finish as to not interrupt the important moment. After she says her part, Holly becomes agitated after seeing us here.
He has no right to be here.
I'm not here for the
Not after
funeral.
what he did.
Look, Holly, not here to start trouble.
What did we do anyway?
You throw my sister down the witching well, and you have the nerve to show your face here?
What? It turns out that Crane had disposed of Lily's body before anything else could be done with it, but we of course know now that it was to get rid of the evidence. We pulled Snow aside, telling her what Crane was up to, along with his creepy fetish, leaving Snow stunned but furious about the whole situation. Before we can return to the business office, Snow gets called back over to take part in the burning section of the troll ceremony, with Nerissa coming over to check in on what we found, updating her on the fact that we found the scene of the murder, but before we can elaborate, she returns to the ceremony as well.
Constable? Wait, easy now, girl. You know how this goes.
The Tweedles have arrived, both with sawed-off shotguns to our back, demanding that we leave Crane alone and to leave the entire case alone with that. But come on now, do you really think I'm scared of these two nutsacks? Holly notices the twins heading over alongside the others, as we tell them all what the two Jabba the Hutt lookalike contest winners want from us.
Now, you shouldn't have done that, old boy. Really. That wasn't right, telling everyone our dealings.
Yes!
Think you motherfuckers could come here uninvited? You think you could just fucking interrupt Lily's funeral?
Holly storms towards the twins, taking a shell to the chest, with Gren taking a shot too. Somehow the two twins overpower each of us, sending a shell straight into Bigby as well, making an escape into the night. The episode continues at the business office, with Buffkin looking at repairing the magic mirror since Crane tried wiping any evidence of his whereabouts. We get fixed up by Dr. Swinehart, who tells us that we should be fine, seeing as normal bullets don't seem to make much of a graze on Fables. I mean, do we not remember what happened to the woodsman in the first episode? These motherfuckers are invincible. Buffkin is making his best effort to put the glass of the mirror back together, while us and Snow decide on what to do next, conflicted on whether or not to chase after Crane. At this point of the game, and in fact I think I even mentioned it before we saw the ending of the last episode, I'm almost entirely sure that Crane is not the murderer. His malevolent and sly personality was made evident right from the off. It would have been far too obvious for him to play that big of a part. I'm sure he's involved in some way or another, but this definitely goes deeper than I thought. Buffkin has finally finished putting the pieces of the mirror together, but just like the evidence of the court case of a Hollywood director, one important piece is conveniently missing. Buffkin tells us that it's alright though, seeing as the mirror will heal itself over time, but that'll take far too long.
He's a neat freak, but he was never that smart.
Smart enough to take a piece of the mirror. Still solve it ourselves.
Shut up, Blumpkin, or whatever your name is.
Come help me look.
Wait, is it Blumpkin? I don't think it's Blumpkin. What's his name? Yeah, his name is definitely not Blumpkin. The only thing we can do is search Crane's desk, finding his hotel key, letters from people living on the farm claiming that the living conditions are poor, and he isn't even paying for any of the fixes in Fabletown itself. There's only one drawer left to search, yanking it open past the unsettling stickiness, grossing me out for more reasons than one. Inside the drawer is a book, containing a page about some kind of ring that has been torn out, with Buffkin alerting us to the fact that it means he's likely heading to the house of a witch, the same one that was probably dealing Crane his black market Snow White glamour. He had set an appointment with her at 2 AM, so with a race against the clock, we had to find her home. Before we can leave, Bluebeard storms in, furious about the fact that we haven't fixed the mirror yet, as well as us letting Crane escape, seeing as it's mostly his money that keeps everything about the town in check. Bluebeard is insistent on heading to Crane's home to catch the creep himself, leaving us to decide to go onto Tweedle's office, in hope for a more entertaining encounter than going to the Trip Trap once again. As we get to the offices of the Tweedle twins, we come across the flycatcher, a guy who used to work as a janitor in the woodlands, now working for the Tweedles to keep their office clean. He offers to let us in, seeing as he had to clean in there next anyway.
I'm gonna have to take a look around.
Well, I guess that would be okay.
I wasn't really asking for permission.
I mean, they never told me not to let you in.
In the office are a bunch of different files, showing the debt that Beauty has to someone called the Crooked Man, as well as Crane's heavy debt as well. The files also show that Faith had stolen a photo that Crane desperately needed, hiring the twins to get it off of her. The flycatcher seems to think that the twins are good people, calling them detectives himself. They'd been making themselves seem like good guys to the flycatcher to keep him as some sort of deterrent from any investigation. But after we tell him about the murders, he breaks to us that there is a hidden door behind the filing cabinet, which we had conveniently found a key for. Behind the door is a hidden room, with shelves full of debt money for the Crooked Man, which we pocket because, let's be honest, it's not like Crane's gonna need it anytime soon. Right next to the jar of money is a small tin, containing more of Snow's hair and a label to Auntie Greenleaf, the witch that Crane was heading to. We get one more piece of the puzzle, now heading to Crane's apartment to see if there happens to be anything left behind. But since Bluebeard had got there before us, he had burnt each and every one of Crane's possessions, leaving nothing for us. Whether he burnt the stuff to hide evidence or if it was out of pure anger, I can't seem to wrap my head around the man. Our only other option now is to go to the Trip Trap, to speak to Holly directly. The bar is closed due to bereavement, but we can hear giggling voices inside. Knocking several times until Gren finally opens the door, higher than a priest's hopes at a Boy Scout meeting. Him and Holly are fine after the shooting, on a large amount of painkillers, hence the state we see Gren in. He is desperate for a drink, with the woodsman actually being pretty mature, recommending him not to since the doctor told him to not mix on the drugs. But I've never seen Gren this happy, sharing a toast with him in honor of Lily's death. And what happened to being chill? Him and the woodsman start tussling over the fact that Woody tries to stop him from drinking, leaving Gren to flip out and expose him for paying Lily for her services behind everyone's back. But Woody insists that he was never involved in the black market glamours, storming out of the bar. We leave Gren to pass out at the bar.
What a fucking day.
That's brilliant. Heading into the back to take a look through Holly's stuff while she sleeps. So we find Auntie Greenleaf's address in Lily's book, and the phone rings in the other room, with Snow on the other end. With time running out for us to make it to Auntie Greenleaf's apartment at the time that Crane had planned, we rush to her place with Snow, arriving 14 minutes later than we wanted.
How do you want to do this?
Boom! Down the door! Ha-ya!
Wait, what are you doing?
What does it look like?
Don't just kick it in. We don't know what's on the other side. Let's just
boring.
Save the last resort for last.
Bah! Oh shit! We introduce ourselves to the little girl after just attempting to lobotomize her with a door handle, her saying that her mother doesn't allow her to let anyone in the apartment, but since we're on an important mission, we let ourselves in, taking a look around while the little girl insists that she's the only one inside, acting pretty suspiciously when we ask questions about the place.
Mom uses that to carve her trinkets. It's from the old world.
Trinkets? Like glamours?
After not coming across anything of use, Snow gets ready to leave. That is until we spot a wooden tube, just like the one that Lily had on her when she was killed. When we pick it up, the girl starts losing her mind, begging us not to open it.
No, put it down! Please, don't! This isn't what you think! You gotta believe me!
The girl is the witch! I fucking knew it! Auntie Greenleaf had glamoured herself in order to try and get us away, but I actually think I must have got the world record for noticing this the quickest. I literally knew it like 15 seconds after she opened the door.
Look for anything unusual.
She's not speaking
like
like a,
Crane.
what, 6-year-old girl?
Here.
I think that's the witch. That child's the witch. If that insanely high level of IQ doesn't deserve a like on the video, I don't know what will. We get the usual question dodging that we've had from literally every suspect in this game so far, with Snow's patience thinning more than Elon Musk's hair before his transplant. Snow is furious that the witch is so blatantly avoiding the fact that she is selling black market glamours, as well as hiding the whereabouts of Crane. Seeing as we can't seem to get to her, Snow demands that we set fire to the witch's tree, as punishment for her playing a part in the deaths of Faith and Lily. But the witch dives in the way, finally breaking, telling us that Crane took her ring to the pudding and pie in order to use its magic to force information from the girls working there. But little does he know, it lost its power a while ago. Despite Snow still insisting we burn the tree as a punishment, we decide against it, knowing that our public image will only be tarnished further. It's time to speak to Crane. Heading straight to Georgie's nightclub, my hands trembling in fear for the amount of censoring I'm gonna have to do again. We notice Crane's car outside, confirming that what the witch told us was true. We storm inside, Georgie receiving a knuckle sandwich after making suggestive comments about Snow, getting pushed away like a bitch by Snow herself. Yes, Snow?
You can't just go in there.
Who are you gonna call? hard. Crane has Nerissa in the back room, desperately begging her to tell him who killed Lily, insisting that the ring will break a spell that has kept all the girls at the Pudding and Pie from speaking of the crimes, despite us knowing that the ring has no power.
Please, tell me who killed her!
My lips are sealed.
Crane is helpless, admitting to everything except insisting that he was not involved in the murder at all.
We found the photos of you and Lily.
I know, that was, I just love you, Snow. I love you, and I'm sorry I'm not Prince Charming, okay?
Snow White is understandably furious, but is pretty certain that he wasn't the killer. I mean, look at him. You think this lowlife would be able to kill someone? We put Crane under arrest for embezzling Fabletown funds, as well as being involved in the black market deals.
I did the best I could with what I had, and the town took everything it could out of me. If I maybe took a little something back in return, then so be it. I have no regrets. Oh, God.
If I were you, I'd keep that trap of yours shut.
After breaking the pervert's massive beak, we walk him outside, ready to take him back to the office for questioning, only for the alleyway out of the club to get blocked off by cars with tinted windows. Oh, that's Tweedledum Tweedledee. Who's in the other cars? Bluebeard? Who the fuck is that?
What you got there?
Who are you?
No. That's not how this works. How this works is you are going to walk Crane over here, like a good doggy. Tweedledee, what's the, you know, that thing the Mundies call me?
What?
My nickname.
Heisenberg.
You know what I'm talking about. Bloody Mary, that's it.
Oh. The Tweedle twins are accompanied by Bloody Mary, demanding us to hand Crane over. With our reluctance to give in, the twins are told to open fire, sending Bigby flying into the brick wall. But when has a few shotgun shells ever stopped us?
Bigby?
Yeah, that's not gonna do shit to us! What's up, Tweedle Dick and Tweedle Balls? I don't know, sorry, I should think of something scary. We get provided with the dopest scene of the entire game, slowly stomping our way in our werewolf form towards the twins in the pouring rain, with an awesome soundtrack blaring in the back. This is sick! Yo! Fuck 'em up! We throw the twins around like dirty socks, pinning Tweedledum to the wall to earn the most awesome kill of the game, somehow getting underneath his multiple chins to tear his throat out, finally earning some revenge, but that winning feeling doesn't last long, with Mary landing a silver bullet shot into our side, forcing us to collapse to the floor. Left completely defenseless now, Snow reluctantly hands over Crane, leaving us to slowly bleed on the cold, rainy floor, with a mysterious hand waving over their man. The fourth episode begins in our apartment, Dr. Swinehart working at removing each fragment of the silver bullet that Bloody Mary shot Bigby with, urgently needing to remove every last bit, as silver is known to be poisonous to were creatures in folklore. As for the slightly fractured arm, Swinehart tells us that we can reset that ourselves. What do you mean set that? I ain't doing shit with that. The doctor tells us that we're lucky to be alive, and if we keep pushing ourselves the way we are, we won't keep getting so lucky. With all of the silver finally removed, Swinehart gives one final warning that if we get shot with another one, that could well be the end of us. We get quite a beautiful moment between Bigby and Snow White, with Snow speaking of how sad she felt for the brief moment that Bigby was unconscious and not breathing, almost making him promise to not let it happen again. The pair have definitely progressed in their partnership, and I can't imagine it would be outrageous to assume that there could well be some romance involved too, especially if the comics are anything to go by. Colin appears and starts debating with Snow about how to best approach the future of this investigation in the best way possible to avoid any more close calls. Snow would rather us stick by the book, keeping to rules as to not put ourselves in danger again, which is when my biggest complaint comes back into the conversation. Remember how I mentioned how the townspeople would often bring up actions that we did in a way to demoralize us, despite them being completely justifiable? Yeah, listen to this.
I only ever do what's necessary.
Really? Well, if that's the case, please explain to Colin why tearing Dumb's throat out was necessary?
He was fucking shooting at me! Look, I can understand people being against Bigby's aggressive interrogation tactics, okay? That's fine. But in what world am I in the wrong for killing Tweedledum? Was he not shooting to kill me? I wasn't just eating the shotgun shells for fun. What am I supposed to do? Just let them keep shooting me until I die? Oh, no, that tickles. Stop shooting me. Tweedledee, Tweedledum, this isn't you. No, that's ridiculous. And it really triggered me that a character so intelligent as Snow White would suggest such a stupid idea. Anyway, enough of the rant. As Colin continues to defend us in our intimidation tactics, Snow decides to stamp down on some rules. With her new position as deputy mayor since Crane's dismissal, she is insistent on sticking to the rules, and that involves Colin going to live on the farm, unless of course he gets glamoured. He is absolutely not having it, and we stand by Colin, telling Snow it's impossible to enforce, with our focus returning to the murders since Nerissa is supposedly waiting for us at the business office. We take a seat at the office, Nerissa desperately wanting to tell us what she knows, but with the spell keeping her lips sealed, it's not going to be as simple as just talking. Last time we asked for help, she was able to tell us what she knew by sending us to the hotel that Lily died in, hoping that this time she could do something similar again. She does her best to formulate a way of telling us her information, but it's just too difficult for us to understand, with Nerissa unable to make herself clear, until we take note of something that all the ladies from the Pudding and Pie have in common: the neck ribbons.
I thought I knew how to say it.
Ribbons. Faith wore one too. It's a tool to keep you stuck in that life. Subservient. That's why you can't tell me anything. It's the ribbon, isn't it? You mind if I just...
No! His lips are sealed.
What?
You can't. Just stay back.
The ribbons that each of the ladies wear hold the spell that prevents them from freely speaking, and to take them off, well, we can only assume kills the lady, which would explain the way that both Faith and Lily had identical decapitations. Snow knocks on the door, with Nerissa heading back to avoid anyone spotting her, with us and Snow settling on visiting Beauty and the Beast to find out if they know any more about the Crooked Man, since Beauty had found herself in some debt. Snow heads off alone for a personal matter, leaving us to travel solo to Beauty and Beast's apartment. We overhear them bickering over their financial problems from outside the door, with Beast answering in frustration after seeing us and keeping secrets about Beauty from him.
Yet, with all the sneaking around and secrets, somehow I'm still the bad guy in this.
What did I do? Oh, kept secrets from you. Grow up, you're a grown-ass man. After being let in, Beauty admits that after not receiving financial help from the business office, she was forced to rely on the Crooked Man's aid in order to maintain an image and their expensive lifestyle. But our conversation is stopped abruptly by a phone call from someone who doesn't sound too pleased with the two fables.
Bash your heads in with that machine if I have to call again and hear that fucking message one more time. I've been doing this long enough to know that if you had the cash, you'd have paid by now. So consider yourselves out of warnings. It's time to start thinking about how else you can settle this.
Beauty confesses that they'd been dealing directly with someone called Jersey, working at the Lucky Pawn for the Crooked Man. Beast, however, suggested it would be better to head to the local butcher instead, seeing as he'd been delivering packages to them, which didn't feel very much like meat.
Well, I've been delivering packages from there for a while. The thing is, it's for the Crooked Man.
Beast admits that he'd basically been playing a part in the trafficking of cash and other black market supplies in order to make money, which despite the fact Beast had basically incriminated himself, we have bigger fish to fry. Heading to the butcher's first in order to find more information. Before we make our way out of the couple's home though, the two stop us in the hallway, asking us a very important question.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe you can make this all just go away.
We would really appreciate it.
You're asking me to kill him, aren't you? Is that what you think I do?
No, of course not.
I don't know how you'd get that idea.
I was gonna kill him anyway.
I'm gonna do my job. Lucky for you, that might just solve your problems anyway.
We arrive at the rather empty butcher shop. The fridge is hardly stocked and frozen meat suggesting that hardly anyone is actually visiting this place for food, while the owner comes out to greet us.
Bigby Wolf?
It's,
Well, welcome, Sheriff.
It's Walter. Just like with absolutely everybody in this damn town, our questions get avoided like a redditor to a shower. And with Johan the butcher getting visibly concerned at the idea of us looking around the place, he pretends to hear noises in the walls, running to the back, not before pressing a red button behind the counter. We follow Johan all the way into the back, getting strong PTSD from the meat fridge in heavy rain. Oh, we're gonna go fucking jumped. Sneaking through the fridge silently, we make our way to Johan.
How you doing?
Please, Bigby. Please don't.
Bigby? What happened to Sheriff?
Please don't kill me, Sheriff. I'm dead. Either way, they said to me, Johann, you can keep your life and lose your shop, or lose both.
He admits that either way, he's dead. Either we kill him now, or the Crooked Man's people kill him from us finding out what he was hiding. And what exactly was he hiding, you ask? A meth lab? Oh no, they're cooking fake glamour. A giant lab to cook up black market magic was being hidden at the back of Johann's shop, with him telling us that the Crooked Man's crew, including Bloody Mary, Georgie, the Tweedles, and the Jersey Devil, took control of the store, only allowing him to keep the place open as a disguise for their lab. After telling Johann to stay out the way, we take a look around the lab, finding boxes full of glamour tubes that Beast had likely exported, a big red light that Johann triggered to tell the cooks to escape, as well as a huge list of people requiring different magic and glamour, some of which being used as powerful weapons. What are these though?
Chains. Who's getting chained up here?
You can't think I'm the only one the Crooked
Me,
Man
I
has
wish.
to show.
With Johann insisting that he isn't a part of the whole black market ring, simply being a victim to it all, he wants to do his best to help us, especially after now learning the extent to which these crimes reach. He suggests our best idea is to use the magic mirror. Using such would make finding the Crooked Man simple. Johann believes that if something so important as the final piece of the mirror is going to be anywhere, it'll be at the Lucky Pawn, the shop which the Jersey Devil owns. We promise Johann his safety, with the blood of the Crooked Man as #1 priority. We arrive at the Lucky Pawn not long after, peering through the shutters to see a man whose hair aliens must have mistaken for a crop field. Maybe it's best to let it go, man. The guy is arguing with the woodsman about his precious axe, with the woodsman insisting that the guy has taken it to sell, but the man is certain that they've never had it. The man turns out to be Jersey, and when Woody notices an empty stand where his axe once sat, the two break out into a brawl which we happily spectate for a while before shoving Jersey away. Jersey, who, can I mention, is built like that one creature in the car with Messi, starts mentioning the dead girls from the Pudding and Pie, before jabbing into Bigby's wounds.
You ain't so tough.
Look how you built, motherfucker. Into the needles. Woody even tries throwing us away, but only because he wants to beat the shit out of Jersey instead of us. But it looks like we might have to work together anyway. Oh shit! Yo! Is he a Wendigo? Jersey starts clawing at Woody on the floor before we punt the fuck out of him. This fight scene was so awesome. Taking out Jersey mid-air. Woodsman, help a brother out. Before slamming him between the shutters. We dodge a few more swipes before landing some punches ourselves. And despite Jersey having a dope monster design, he's a little bitch, trying to charge towards us, getting his antler thing snapped off, and we drive it into his chest. That isn't quite enough to stop him, pinning us against the cabinet before trying to take exaggerated chomps at our head like some TikTok mukbanger. The woodsman finally tags in, lodging his axe from behind the counter into Jersey's head, with us leaving him out for the count by slamming the axe deeper. With Woody putting the axe to his neck, we finally get some answers out of him, telling us that Crane's stuff is in the back, pocketing some money and, thankfully, the final shard of the magic mirror, which will be vital, seeing as the door to the Crooked Man's place apparently changes constantly, never being found at the same place more than once. We make our leave after silencing Jersey's incel comments.
Those girls are still dead. Oh, and there's nothing you can do to bring them back.
Just shut the fuck up.
Sharing a cigarette with Woody, promising him that we will get the Crooked Man, bringing him down one way or another. Sharing a wholesome moment with him before returning to the business office for our final part of the investigation. As we enter, Bluebeard is furious at Snow White for letting Crane leave, alongside Toad, who is desperate to win us over and letting him stay in Fabletown, despite his lack of glamour. We interrupt their squabbling, handing Buffkin the missing shard of the magic mirror, before we get a whole lot of nothing when questioning Bluebeard about why he burnt Crane's possessions.
I know you were burning evidence.
Then tell me, what evidence did I burn?
We let Snow know that with the mirror fixed, we can find wherever the Crooked Man's hideout is, leaving Buffkin to it as we take the chance to speak to Toad about his glamour.
Just need a little bit of dosh to cover it. I tried talking to her about it, but it's like chatting up a brick wall, it is.
Toad keeps telling us that he wishes he could afford it, but it's really not possible for him, begging for us to give him a chance, seeing as Snow is trying to be heavy on the rules, and seeing as we're kind of allowing Colin to do the same. But there's a big difference between Colin, who hides away from real people in our apartment, and Toad, who just wanders around the town looking as he does. We promise him that we can try our best to help him financially, with him hopping away in joy, Bluebeard following him out. We have to make a deal with Snow that if Toad isn't glamoured once the investigation's over, we'll send him to the farm, as to keep all sides happy, and have our final discussion about the Crooked Man and his reasons behind the crime, getting cut off short by Buffkin, who has pieced together the final parts of the mirror. As we head over, Snow first wants to know what Crane is up to, revealing that Bloody Mary is forcing him to get on a plane out of Fabletown and to Paris.
Wait a minute. Someone's watching.
We finally riddle the magic mirror into showing us the location of the Crooked Man's hideout, switching place before we can even figure out where it was. But fortunately, this made it just easier.
The door. It moves.
Yeah, Jersey mentioned that.
Wait a minute. I know that door.
That's Central Park.
Bigby, wait. When you get the Crooked Man, make sure you bring him back alive.
We make no promises to Snow though. Look, if we're put in a situation where we might be killed, I'm not just gonna let it happen for the sake of the citizens' opinions of me. But we insist we'll do our best, rushing straight for the door in Central Park. Alright. We entered the Aether portal that is the door to the hideout, bumping into Tim.
Tim, what the hell are you doing here?
Good evening, Sheriff. I'm here to take you to the boss.
Tim works for the Crooked Man not only as his doorman to his Resident Evil style lair, but also as his getaway limo driver, and he tells us that the Crooked Man and his sidekicks have been expecting us, asking that he brings us straight to them.
Sheriff Wolf, sir.
All three of them. I dare you to come near me.
I know the sheriff isn't the accommodating sort, but you handled it. You did well. You can go now.
Thank you, sir.
You see, everyone in Fabletown has a role to fill. You just have to pay attention to what they need to help them find it.
That's the Crooked Man.
We have a great deal to discuss.
We take a puff of our cigarette as we begin listening to what the Crooked Man starts to say, as he begins rolling off his excuses and explanations for what he's done. He tells us that he's confused as to why issues have arisen between us and him despite years of cooperation, but we make it clear to him that that wasn't our doing.
Wanted. I'm not Crane.
The tension in the room could be sliced with a knife, especially with Jersey lining up his revolver filled with silver bullets to our head, but the Crooked Man tells him to give it a rest and asks why we decided to come to his hideout.
You forget what happened at the Pudding and Pie? You and your goons tried to kill me.
I'm truly sorry for that whole debacle. It was not my intention to put you or Miss White in any sort of danger. My wish was merely to take Crane, Sheriff. And as soon as the assignment grew out of control, I put a stop to it.
The Crooked Man refuses to tell us who carried out the murders, with tensions increasing even more with increasing anger between us and the cretinous criminals.
I'd love a good reason to put a bullet between your eyes after what you did!
That's enough! I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but in the interest of preserving our alliance, if you have to know, it was Georgie.
Yeah, I killed him, so what?
Why'd you do it? Why kill them?
Does it matter?
Look, the fact is...
Yes.
George here misinterpreted one of my instructions.
Misinterpreted?
And I want to make things right. So, let's work something out.
After all this time, we finally find out that Georgie is behind the murders. But it's not exactly clear if he wanted to, or if they were ordered by the Crooked Man himself. Everyone sits around in silence as Georgie pleads with them to not let him lie to us like this, insisting that he was told to kill them. In order to try and keep an alliance with us, the Crooked Man offers us Georgie in return for leaving them alone. But neither us or Georgie exactly think that's the best idea, with him losing his mind at the betrayal his fellow sidekicks are showing him. But we don't want Georgie, we want to take the man at the very top instead.
This could have gone so well. But you just had to complicate things. To speak the truth, I've never been a very good mediator. Why negotiate when you can just decide?
Oh shit.
Did I miss anything good?
Bloody Mary finally makes her appearance, and we are without a doubt outnumbered, especially with Jersey transforming and their silver bullets. We wrestle with Tweedledee and Jersey, pushing the gun away, directing a shot through the glass window in the back of the office, opening up another portal which Mary and the Crooked Man flee from. We dodge Georgie's knife swing before finally driving it into his own stomach and sending Jersey to the floor, knocking him out before following the rest of the side dicks through the giant portal. We come out of the portal to find Georgie and Vivian attempting to flee, with Georgie looking worse for wear, with his stomach looking like deli meat. They try to make their escape, getting literally held back by Big B, only for the bumper to come off from our super strength, allowing them to make their escape. We dodge traffic, jump across fucking rooftops, before leaping from the bridge onto the roof of Georgie's car, noticing that the crooked man was being driven away right next to us. We get shaken off the roof by Vivian, who backs up down an alleyway before gunning right for us. We pull off a Spider-Man-esque dodge move, finding our way back to the rooftops, watching the two enter the pudding and pie, noticing that the knife that stabbed Georgie must have burst open his massive ketchup sachet he was hiding under his shirt. That's a big mess, man. Georgie is screaming in pain from within the nightclub, and we find him slouched over on a couch with Vivian watching over him.
Hello, Big B. I hoped you'd come to your senses.
Sit down.
Crooked Man's the one you want. But of course, you're too much of an idiot to see that.
Georgie explains that Faith and Lily had tried escaping the grasp of the Crooked Man and his evil ring, which of course was never going to end well, with the man insisting that she get killed, using Georgie to prevent him from getting his own hands dirty. One way or another, the girls were going to end up dead, and it's likely Georgie had to kill or be killed himself.
Stop complaining and take responsibility for what you did. You murdered Faith and Lily. You put those fucking ribbons around their necks.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If I freed them... What would you have me do? Kill her?
Georgie, don't.
It was them or Vivian. So you tell me, if freeing Lily meant she had to die.
What are you talking about?
This is the original. The girl with the ribbon. I'm sure you've heard the stories. Couldn't take it off, couldn't talk about it. She used her little purple ribbon to make more of them. To keep our girls quiet. To ensure absolute discretion.
You promised you wouldn't.
All that magic is connected to this little thing. You remove hers, and the spell's broken. They're all free. But you know what happens to her? The same thing that happened to Faith.
The truth is finally out. The ribbons all originated from Vivian. The same going that with it on, she couldn't talk of the crimes that occurred under Georgie and the evil ring. The Crooked Man found interest in this and knew it would be of use to him, which is why we saw the other girls at the club wearing the same ribbons. Faith and Lily had their ribbons removed by Georgie, hence their identical deaths, but little did we know that all the girls would have been freed if the original ribbon wearer Vivian would die.
Kill her then.
What are you doing?
Break the spell. Save the fucking day.
Stop it.
I told you. Sometimes all your options are shit.
We'll find another way. She doesn't have to die. Maybe the witches
Don't
can...
talk about me like I'm not even here. Please. It's my life. Like it was either of yours to give up in the first place.
I said I'm
Vivian,
done.
I'm not gonna kill you.
I know that.
Wait.
I'm sick of everyone thinking that they can just do what they want with my life.
I didn't mean...
Do you think I wanted to be this person? What I did to Faith and Lily? To all of them?
Vivian, wait.
I hate myself.
Vivian.
I can't pretend anymore.
What are you doing?
Vivian, don't. Vivian, no! Fuck! No, 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 no!
Georgie is distraught at the death of Vivian, and now he finds himself completely hopeless with his stab wound looking more and more like a plate of bolognese. Georgie knows his time is up, just finally pleading that we give the Crooked Man each bit of punishment he deserves, telling us we'll find him at the local metalwork factory. With his time running out and in excruciating pain, Georgie indirectly asks us to put him out of his misery. But what he did is still inexcusable, so we leave him to face his punishment, to die alone, reflecting on everything that he'd done. What a remarkable final episode of the game. So much emotion has been shown through the unveiling of the truth, but we are far from done yet. We arrive at the metalworks where we expect to find Bloody Mary and the Crooked Man, and the warm engine of their car outside is evidence of their whereabouts. We enter the factory being welcomed by the voice of Bloody Mary, although she's nowhere to be seen. We come across a pinboard full of photos showing that we'd been spied on from the very start, all the way back when we met Faith. They've been crafting silver bullets at the factory, presumably to prepare for our demise, which is when Mary and Droopy make their presence known.
It's about time you showed up.
I had to take care of some things first.
Little errand boy. That's nice.
Ah, Bigby. I see you made it here in one piece. I do apologize, but I have some business to attend to. I leave you in the capable hands of my associate. Come find me when you finish, dear.
Don't worry. This won't take long.
It's made clear from the start that fighting Bloody Mary won't be as easy as some of our previous bouts, with her ability to dodge and sense attacks unparalleled.
Didn't your mother ever teach you to fight proper?
I do find it ironic how Mary mentions us not fighting proper when we swing at her while she isn't looking, despite her literally going invisible and appearing from absolutely nowhere to get hits off on us, giving me the most ridiculously fast reaction time buttons to press to dodge them.
Where are you?
She finally makes herself known to us, showing off her awesome unglamoured design, with breaking glass sound effects every time she moves, as well as a cold shrieking noise. Mary's antics have turned Bigby furious. That is so cool. Oh, sick. Nice. This is fair. And it's about to get a whole lot worse, with Mary playing Agario in real life, splitting into tens, if not hundreds of mirror images of herself, impossible to distinguish between, leaving us absolutely hopeless when we get pinned down and slashed apart. Come on. Whoa! Yeah, that's right. We transform into a giant wolf, turning full-blown Sigma, crushing each and every version of Bloody Mary by swatting them away, simply crunching them and even huff, puffing, and blowing them down, leaving just the one original Mary. What is she doing? Yes! Let's fucking go. I must admit, I'm a bit annoyed we didn't get to finish off Tweedledee and Jersey, but that is one satisfying way to end one of our biggest rivals in the game. We revert from Sigma back to Giga Chad with morals of prior importance. We'll go back and Snow White's gonna be like, why didn't you just arrest her? And only one person is left in our way now, the Crooked Man himself, heading up to the office where he had been spectating the entire thing.
Give me one good reason not to rip you apart right now.
This gun holds 6 rounds of I won't miss next time.
He reminds us that Snow wanted him to be brought back to the woodlands alive for questioning, which is exactly what he wants as well. The Crooked Man tells us he wants nothing but to have a chance at a fair trial, presumably only to gaslight and lie to more people about what he'd done. He keeps persisting to us that he'll be a free man, claiming his innocence in the murders, supposing that it was all Georgie and everything else he had done was for the best of the Fabletown citizens.
I'm no murderer, Mr. Wolf. I didn't kill those women. And I think you know that.
He continues to force lies and bullshit onto us, leaving us a choice to end him right here or bring him back with us to the station. And for the sake of Snow White, we cuff him up and return to the Witching Well chamber for his trial. But don't get me wrong, if it weren't for Snow, this man would be shredded into pieces right now. Almost everyone that we've met along the way is waiting for us at the Witching Well, awaiting their chance to have a say in the fate of the Crooked Man, with my utter brain rot making it incredibly difficult to stay composed in this important moment.
Motherfucker.
With the return of the Crooked Man, everyone is outraged, demanding his execution for the toll his power has taken on everyone.
This, you should be ashamed.
Shithole.
Everyone, can I have your attention?
The Crooked Man begins to light the fire of lies and excuses, interrupting Snow to tell everybody that Georgie killed Faith and Lily, claiming that he had nothing to do with it. We of course see right through him, explaining to everybody that he'd forced Georgie to, with him dying in the backlash of the Crooked Man fleeing from his hideout. This scene is one of a few that can play out, involving a 20-minute interrogation between the citizens and the Crooked Man, where everybody attempts to get involved, whilst the Crooked Man continues to make weak accusations about Georgie, as well as our harsh policing tactics that would made throughout the entire game, whether it be as simple as hitting Crane or killing Tweedledum. The Crooked Man continues to shift the burden of proof onto other people to deflect the attention of his own crimes.
First of all, I had nothing to do with Faith and Lily, so you can strike that one from your little record book.
Bullshit! Like hell you didn't.
Stop the charade. We know you're involved.
Come on, it's obvious.
I know you're responsible. You've been behind all of this from the beginning.
The Crooked Man continues to do his best to try and turn the citizens against us, with Snow allowing him to have a fair chance of speaking to make a case for himself, despite everyone's initial disbelief at it. The man's attempts at brainwashing is quite honestly pathetic, returning to the point of Georgie carrying out the killings for the 100th time, continuing on to suggest that he'd helped everybody here financially, seeing as the town had left people in ruins of debt. But of course, that was because of Crane, the man who coincidentally was in the palm of the Crooked Man's hand the entire time.
The Crooked Man's been exploiting you, exploiting your hope for a better life. You would go to him for help, and he would take that weakness and add it to his strength.
Do you really think the Crooked Man cared about you? He just cared about your money. He cares about your obedience.
He attempts to bring up the killing of Tweedledum in the alley, but receives no plaudits from the crowd, as they back us up in explaining it with self-defense. The debate looks like it will never end, with the Crooked Man spewing more shit than a Taco Bell bathroom, until finally someone comes to put an end to it all.
Ooh, will we the...
Bigby! Miss White!
Excuse me, dear.
Nerissa!
I wanted to make sure I had the chance to say something.
She can speak now! Nerissa returns, able to speak now under the breaking of the ribbon spell since Vivian's death, confirming that Georgie was forced to commit the murders with backup from the other ladies at the Pudding and Pie.
I'm sorry, I don't think
Nerissa! My name is Nerissa.
It's okay, my dear. It's going to be just...
He ordered them dead. This fucker. Faith and Lily.
That's a lie.
I was in the goddamn room when he did it. Faith and Lily are dead because of you. The only two people who ever gave a damn about me. And now I can finally say, you're an asshole. And I hope you rot at the bottom of the witching well for what you did.
It's over for the Crooked Man, with almost everybody demanding that he be sentenced to the death at the bottom of the well, with only the witch suggesting that he be imprisoned instead.
That's it, right?
Calm down the witching well.
Nah, that's too fucking easy for a crook like that.
What do you mean?
He's gotta pay for what he did.
Everyone decides though that they ought to let us make the final decision. So for Faith, Lily, and everybody in Fabletown, that we do.
Teach him a fucking lesson.
No.
He has to die.
We can lock him
Just
away.
fucking get rid of him.
Not this way.
I was just about to click. Holy shit.
There you are. I hope you all remember this moment. Think of me when you try to sleep.
Finish it, Sheriff.
Please, we can...
You know, just between us, I was gonna let you live. But now...
You're going to miss me.
No, I won't.
For Lily and Faith.
Yes. Another one of us to erase from the books.
It's the day after his sentencing, with the flycatcher letting us know that the truck to the farm is heading off shortly, so we let him know that we'll be there soon. Heading up to the business office to grab the flycatcher's keys and coming across some happy faces queuing up for jobs as Snow deals busily with the fallout from the Crooked Man's mess. We come across Colin, letting him know to get hidden, and head outside to the truck, where Toad and TJ are packing up, ready to be driven away to the farm. It turns out in the end, we couldn't do anything to help Toad stay in Fabletown, with the new Deputy Mayor Snow sticking tough to the rules about glamours. We reassure TJ that he'll be okay at the farm, with it being safer for him and his dad there, without having to worry about their appearance at all. We accept his gift of a beetle to hand to Snow White before the flycatcher starts to drive them away.
You'll be a lot safer there. There's plenty of space to run around, and a nice river nearby so you can swim all you want.
Even in daytime?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the Monday seeing you. It'll be nice.
It seems like that won't be the final goodbye we have to have, however.
Saying goodbye?
Nerissa had come to let us know one more thing about the case of Faith and Lily. The three of them had made a plan together to get away from the Pudding and Pie, to flee the grasp of the Crooked Man, getting dirt on him when Faith stole a photo of Crane and Lily together. Nerissa says she was scared about what danger this might put them in, admitting that she'd come clean to Georgie about it and hoped they might be given a second chance. Georgie told her that he would do his best to smooth things over with the Crooked Man, to keep the girls safe, but the next day he returned and told the girls that he couldn't let it slide, which we now know was ordered by the Crooked Man. Georgie was forced to murder Faith in front of the girls to teach a lesson, which left Nerissa no choice but to bring the case to our attention.
I know he ordered their deaths. I wasn't gonna let him get away with it because of a stupid technicality. Especially after... That night, after Faith, I tried to warn Lily, but she wasn't with her scheduled appointment. So I did the only thing I could do. I left Faith's head at your doorstep.
The head of Faith placed in front of our building was done by Nerissa. She did all she could to bring our attention to the crimes of the Crooked Man, effectively starting the investigation that had saved the town.
Because you brought the Crooked Man in, everyone saw who he really was. So from where I'm standing, you did the right thing. You've been given this job for a reason. And I left Faith at your doorstep because I knew if anyone stood a chance against the Crooked Man, it was you.
I hope I've at least done some good here.
You've changed this place. For better or worse, Fabletown wouldn't be the same without you.
How I miss those walks.
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
I need to tell you something. I have to tell you something.
I feel like we've met before.
You're trying to place me. You like my ribbon? Do you like it?
Faith wore one too.
Would hide her beauty so she could escape his kingdom.
They used to call me the Little Mermaid.
Did Dr. Swinehart ever get back to you about
He
Faith?
said he wanted to run more tests. I hope you find what you're looking for. I'll see you around, Wolf.
And you make me smile. You make me smile. You make me smile just thinking